With this, we kickstart our first session, and to invite and introduce our first speaker, I will request Mr. Nandakishore Patil to join us on the stage.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is my honor to introduce our chief guest for the evening, a stalwart in real estate industry, a visionary leader and the founder of Gera Developments Private Limited, Mr. Kumar Gera, sir. Sir's journey in the real estate sector has been nothing short of an inspiration. With over 5 decades of experience, he has transformed the landscape of urban development with his innovative and quality-driven approach. Apart from his entrepreneurial achievements, Mr. Gera, after serving as president of CREDAI Pune, he pioneered the formation of national body of CREDAI and served as the founder, national president of CREDAI and chairman of CREDAI for 9 years. He has served as the member of State Planning Board of the Government of Maharashtra, member of the Task Force for the National Housing and Habitat Policy of Government of India. His efforts have played a crucial part in shaping the policies and standards that guide real estate development in our country. The family-owned Gera Developments has delivered a numerous successful residential and commercial projects in Pune, Goa, Bangalore, and the USA. They have also set benchmarks in the industry with its commitment to excellence. GDPL has now introduced India's first and only 7-year warranty in real estate. It has designed and launched a path-breaking concept, the award-winning child-centric homes, which has revolutionized real estate. I just want to share a personal experience. For an invitation, CREDAI Maharashtra team, we met him. We discussed about the change in demand-supply ratio because of unified bylaws, especially for Tier 2, Tier 3 cities. I want to tell you guys, his point of view to look at it was completely different and it was beyond my imagination. I definitely felt an aura of Gera, sir. After half an hour of discussion, being in presence of this charismatic personality, it left a lasting impression of me. The person I was before entering his office has been uplifted. We are privileged that we will be in his presence for next 60 minutes through his immense knowledge and experience of 5 decades. He will shed light on succession in real estate. Sir's third generation is in the business, so who will be better one to deliver on this topic? With round of applause, please welcome founder president of CREDAI National and our chief guest, Mr. Kumar Gera, sir.
Nandakishore, thank you very much for all those very nice words. I always enjoy interacting with people much younger than me because I can assure you it's a two-way traffic of ideas and not just one way. So today we will be addressing and I will be talking about, firstly, the role of the next gen, and I think that is you. Most of you, if I'm not wrong in my assessment, are the next gen in your family businesses. There are elders in the family who've been running the business, and it could be an uncle, it could be a father, it could be an elder brother, whoever. And question is, how can you contribute towards planning for and building a family legacy? I mentioned it in the earlier session, the importance, one of those 3 things that I requested you to focus on is a family legacy. What I'm going to share with you today are my own personal learnings from that I have picked up from various books, from various teachers, from institutions, and my own experiences over 50 years and 4 generations now in our family business. So this is a combination of the things that I've seen and observed. But first, For a minute, before I get into this, let's talk about the fusion of family with business. A fusion is required. What do I mean? In a family, what are the normal ingredients? In a family, the normal ingredients are love and affection, forgiveness, generosity, tolerance, fun, encouragement, support, care. These are the things that families do together. Mother, father, children, uncles, aunties, big family, small family, whatever it is. These ingredients are there. Now the same people are doing business together. What are the ingredients required there in the business? The ingredients are accountability, discipline, deliverables, performance, evaluation, auditing, transparency, consensus, decision making. So the ingredients required by the same group in two different spaces, you can see are very different. The fusion that needs to take place between this is what is required if there is to be sustainability of family business, if there is to be continuity from generation to generation, if there are not to be partitions, then this fusion is very much required. Believe me, it's not easy. It's not something that you can just will, chalo, he karaycha karu apan. It doesn't happen like that. So how does it happen? How does the fusion take place? I'm pointing this out right in the beginning of this talk today because I want you to keep in mind that the real foundation of continuity of family businesses from generation to generation is the fusion to take place effectively. I'm not going into that subject because that is a topic by itself, and I have been given a different topic, but keep in mind that this is a very important aspect of family businesses, longevity, for them to have continuity, for them to go from generation to generation. So let's come back to building the family legacy. You, next gen, if I may call you that, because you will be the karta going forward. You will be in the driver's seat for the other youngsters who are in the family, who will grow up, who will be educated, who you hope will join the business and grow the business and create the prosperity. And when I say business, I'm not just talking about the type of housing that you may be doing today. Things may change. You may be in a different space of housing. You may be in a different industry. But it would still be a family business. You may move to the hospitality industry, or you may go into the IT sector with your property development, or you may just go into REITs. But it is a family business. So I'm talking about that growth, that continuity, that working together of the family. Now, an important point to understand is it necessary for us to want to have longevity? Is it necessary for us to want to have continuity? Why don't we just partition, everybody goes their own way, you don't have to have these family meetings, family council, board meetings, all this. Do your own thing here, take your share and go. But there's an important aspect. The insurance of being together. Good times, bad times, people being together who have grown up together, and if they can gel together, if that fusion takes place, then it's great to have that comfort. My wife and I are going for a holiday. Bhaiya, aap dekh lena. You're on your own, wo nahi hota hai. So there are many things like that. I could give a list, endless list, but it's very important and it's beneficial if we are strong, if we are together, if we are working as a smooth, effective team. Now, I'll go into some areas that particularly next gen, who's not in the driving seat, I'm talking to that audience. You are not the boss. You will be the boss. Or you may be second in command. You have your seniors right now. They may not be a problem, but they may be a challenge in dealing with old ideas, in dealing with different points of view. You may be facing those issues, but you want to stay in there and you want to try and improve things, and sometimes you're frustrated. Ye sab hota hai. You have to accept that. But keeping that aside, what are some of the things that next gen can focus on today? And I've listed out a few of them. Is innovation and modernization. So, and much of this is from my own personal experiences. I saw it happen when I was in the driver's seat and Rohit entered and Nikhil were there, and how they wanted to change things around from the old systems that I was used to and the old environment in which I learned this development. And then you have to adapt, accept, and move on with those ideas and encourage them. And there are mistakes that are made. And you suffer, but you have to bear with it and you have to move forward. Mistakes can be in many ways. They do happen. But you have to, I'll tell you one very interesting story. We got a consultant and he said, do you want to do growth? We said, yes. He said, are you prepared? I have this concept of BHAG, B-H-A-G. So we said, what is BHAG? He said, big, hairy, audacious growth. Okay? So then he said, but if we are going down this path, be prepared for losses. Be prepared that you will have challenges. So we discussed amongst ourselves and said, yes, let's do it. Now, what I'm saying is that there are many types of challenges, not necessarily this one, but which do come, and you have to accept and face them, provided you have a desire that I want this family to be together, to continue, and we all prosper, and we share in a fair, equitable manner. So, innovation, modernization is something that you guys, you folks, who are at that second next gen level, can definitely think about how do I bring this to our company, to our firm. The next one is sustainability and ethics. In case you feel that there are some vacuums, there are some areas in the space of sustainability and ethics, then try to plug them. May not be very easy. You may get resistance from other family members. But how do you bring them in? Make it as a possible objective. Because these are the kind of things that create excitement in you. And I'm trying to excite you. Because then you take up these challenges and not just be doing the same thing that daddy did and you continue doing. But if you start thinking of more things to uplift your level of the company. The third one is talent and leadership development. Look at the talent in your company. Where do you want to go? Will this talent take you there? Is it adequate? Do you need to change it? Do you need to uplift that talent, those capabilities of the people around you? Do you need them? Do they have the capability if you send them to a training school, if you send them for some courses, if you get their skill sets up? So you look at that, you look at leadership development. Are the people in your team good leaders? One by one. Because if they are not good, your progress will be hampered. So look in that area. And next gen is very competent to do these things, if you focus clearly on it. Family harmony. Family harmony is very important. You know, as brothers and sisters, before we enter the business, everything is great. We have fun together, we go on picnics, we enjoy everything. Suddenly you get into business, suddenly you go into marriage, spouse, in-laws, and all the complications start. Why? Who has allowed this to happen? Old gen and next gen. Because we have not focused on that. So when you focus on saying, I want my family to be together. I want that love and affection of the values in the family, and I want the business discipline, performance, accountability, transparency, all to be working together. Not easy. Not easy. Can a son ask the father accountability for his performance, what job he was given to do? He has not done it. He has not delivered in time. Can he ask his father? So, these are the kind of issues that one has to look at. How do I solve this? Maybe you plan that this will be our strategy. Maybe you get a consultant. There are many ways of doing this as long as you are conscious कि ये करना है. आप ही नहीं होगा. How that should be done is the next step that you have to get into. And as I talked a little bit about governance. So governance is also something that you should look at. You should look at de-risking, risk mitigation. Look at the areas where your business is at risk. Is there a financial risk somewhere? Is there a safety risk? Construction sites? Can an accident happen? You look at de-risking under governance. Very, very important, very critical. Because I have seen good people, good builders with the best of intention having an accident. Accident cha arth ka hai? Unintended, unexpected, not his fault. And the company has gone and had a 5-year, 10-year setback, especially if there's a death. So focusing on these areas of governance is a perfect area for next gen to work on at this point in time till you move into the driver's seat. Look at the community. We earn from the community, we must give back to the community in whatever way you want, in whichever area you want. But it has to go back to the community. And you don't have to be in the driver's seat to make suggestions. The person in the driver's seat may take the final decision. Maybe up to him. But suggestions can be there. Motivation can be created. But for that you must look. So that's another area to look at. The whole financial acumen. The whole financial acumen is something that you need to develop. Have strong fiscal policies. Fiscal stability for a real estate developer is very important. Many of my friends I have seen have had trouble because the desire to overtrade, not keep the required safety ratios in the financial part of it. So that's another area that you can study. If you know about it, look at implementing. If not, study it and then suggest it to your family. So, by the way, I believe there's some time for Q&A after this. So, if you have any questions, just jot them down. The next thing I would like to move on to a little bit, I said, was about the family legacy. what will people think and what do people think of your company's past, present, and future? What do they believe that you stand for? I'm not talking only about the brand, but I'm talking about actual what you have done. So let me read to you a very nice definition that I have seen on what a family legacy is. I quote, "A family legacy is the collective impact and inheritance passed down from one generation to the next within a family. It covers more than just material wealth or property. It includes values, family values, traditions, beliefs, experiences, stories, accomplishments that shape the identity and heritage of the family. A family legacy often includes values and principles, cultural traditions and practice, stories and experiences, educational and professional achievements, philanthropy and community involvement, financial assets and real estate, reputation, and social standing." This is a legacy. And when I said that the first thing of those three, which I said earlier in the earlier session, that build a family legacy, it is building all these things. And believe me, if you do focus on it, there's great joy. There's immense happiness. There's a lot of perspiration. There's a lot of stress. There are a lot of challenges. But as you succeed, it's a joyful journey. It requires strategic planning. You have to sit down and say, what are our values? What do we stand for? What does somebody think of when they think of our name? What do they feel about this name? What do they feel about this family? What did my father do? What did my forefathers do? What am I doing? What will my children do? That is something that one should start thinking about. So, it requires defining vision and values. Where do you want the company to be? How do you want to be perceived? What do you have to do to get there? That's the vision. What are your values? What values do you strive at? I'm not saying this to boast, but I'm sharing this because this is something that people who have worked in my company get surprised when they hear this, that this is our value. And what is that value? Integrity. To the extent, if a vendor gives a bill, if a contractor gives a bill, and there is an error in that bill, and that bill is less than what it should be, my team knows they have to correct it and give it to the higher figure. They will not accept it at the lower figure. And those are instructions. Now, these are values. At the same time, the instructions are, make sure it isn't the other way around. Keep the financial discipline, checks, audit, everything in place. So that's a value. And that is for contracts, that is for salaries. I'm giving you little examples, small things. Everybody in the company through COVID, through everything, they will receive their salary one day before the end of the month for the month. Not on the 5th, not on the 10th, which is a normal industrial practice, but one day before. It has been going on for the last 15 years. To do that, when you make that your value, to do that, you have to plan that you have reserves. You know there will be ups and downs. Sometimes I'll be tight on cash flow, but nothing doing, my staff will get their salary on the due date because they have a family to look after. They have bills to pay. It's not like us. So it is these kind of values that you have to decide for yourself, amongst yourselves. I'm not saying it should be this. It may be different, but address the subject. As you move forward, as your business grows, you need to professionalize the business. You have to, if you want to grow, we can't do everything ourselves. I'm no longer a sole proprietor. I can't write the work order also, do the inspection. I can't do everything myself. So you grow. You have more people. Those people need to be trained, need to be motivated. The HR department comes in and there's growth. So you can look at these areas. You can work out a game plan to make your company grow, at the same time de-risking without putting the company's fortune at risk. So balancing these things are the kind of things that next gen should be looking at. Focus on education. Constant education. Things are changing very fast in the world. Is your organization changing? You may be tech savvy. You may be very familiar with AI, with ChatGPT. You may be knowing all those things. But does your organization do it? Are they using it? Are they using the apps? Are you creating your own apps? These are the kind of things that next gen can look at in the family business. Now, another very nice area to look at is communication. Effective communication within the family. Most problems come when we don't communicate clearly and in time. So what should be that method be? Should there be monthly meetings? Should there be weekly meetings amongst family members? What should be the agenda? And then should there be get-togethers? Should there be trips together to some place? Holidays together? Frequently going out, the younger kids, the cousins, depending on how many are in the family. Keeping that whole thing churning. Your job for your family. Please focus on it. Because all these things will lead to the ultimate objectives. Look at how you can build a strong brand. I can't tell you in 2 minutes, but I can say this. Keep it as one of in the list of to do. Then you will find your way. You'll read, you'll talk to consultants, you'll address marketing, you'll look at various aspects, and you'll decide what path you want to follow. There's a lot of opportunities for innovation now. My suggestion is, next gen, please tell your family and company, how should we embrace this? How should we embrace these opportunities of change and transformation which are out there today? Some developers are doing it, some are not doing it. Why am I not doing it? What can we do? I don't know how good your documentation is in your company. I don't know how good your SOPs are. Are they defined? Are they in writing? Is documentation kept safely? Is it easily accessible? All these things require attention, and these are the things next gen should be doing while other things are happening. And looking at the gaps in the company, if there are. If it's already set, we'll look at something else. And how to balance family and business interests. We started with that. It comes up again at the end. You have to balance the interests of business and family, one can't be given a priority and the other forgotten. वो करोगे तो problem होगा. Chockus. Definite problem. Okay? So, my point is that there is a lot to do for next gen. You have to learn from the seniors in your organization. They've had 20 years, at least 25 years of more experience than you have. But you have strengths today. You have to look at all these other areas I talked about, share it with them, they will start admiring you for it. Instead of just repeating what they are doing, which we tend to do, अब मैं साइट पे नहीं जा रहा तुम साइट पे जाओ, वो मार्केटिंग का कस्टमर आया आप मिलो उसको, that's repetitive, उसमें कुछ improvement नहीं है. But what are the improvements is what I've tried to list down, 10 or 11 items which I covered with you. I'll very quickly run through them again. Define your vision and values. Develop a succession plan. Establish strong governance. Professionalize the business. Focus on education and development. Promote open communication. Build a strong brand. Embrace innovation and adaptability. Give back to the community. Document policies and your practices. If you document your SOPs, I've spent 1.5 years working on SOPs only. Every day in the office for 1.5 years, I was developing SOPs. There are about 40 of them. Anybody may get transferred, somebody new may come, somebody may go. They have to read this and they have to know how we work in the company. And each company is different. If I give you my SOP, you can't follow it because my processes are different. Yours are different. So therefore, you can't buy it, you can't take it off the net. You have to see what works for you. And you have to create those policies. If you follow these steps, you can build a strong foundation for a lasting family legacy for your business, ensuring that it succeeds, continuous success, and sustainability for your future generations. And that's what we all work for. What are we working for? We are working for ourselves, we are working for our family, we are working for future generations. But how do you make it a continuity for the ultimate joy? I'll be happy to take questions. In the meantime, good luck, enjoy it. It's a great effort and journey to try and follow.
Thank you once again, sir. I think he deserves a standing ovation, everyone. Please. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot. I invite Mr. Nandakishore Patil to join us on the stage for the Q&A. Can we just pass the mic? Anyone has any question, please raise your hand.
Hello, sir. Before asking the question, I would like to first introduce myself. My name is Gunwan Singh Jabinda. I'm from CREDAI Maharashtra. First of all, I really enjoyed your session, and your bullet points are, I would say, we can engrave it. My question was, what metrics should be used to evaluate the readiness of potential successors in real estate company? My question was, what metrics should be used to evaluate the readiness of potential successors in a real estate company?
When you ask that question, which is what metrics should you use to evaluate the readiness of successors in a real estate company, am I right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So you are looking at this as if on the 1st of January, on the 1st of June, I have to decide the successor, what matrix should I use, do I take him or not? This is not, in my opinion, how it works. The successor has to be identified much earlier. There has to be a period of grooming, training, advising, assessing. And then there's a transition. So you don't prepare a matrix of these are the questions, tick the box. और उसको बना दो successor या नहीं. I'm talking at the leadership level. Okay? I'm talking at the father to son level or father to nephew level or whatever it is. So that starts from childhood or from the teens or at whatever stage, as long as the person is coming into the business and working there. And then he works for 10, 15, 20 years. And that's when the thing. And if there's a choice, if you have just one son, what matrix are you going to use to say yes or no? Right? So if you have three, then you have to choose who's the best for the company. So it's not just ticking the box as a matrix.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. I am Pushkar Modi from CREDAI Maharashtra. Sir, I have a question. Sir, a lot of people sitting here are looking to move to different cities. We come from town or small tier cities and looking to develop in metro cities. So what steps should we take as a family so that we can sustain in the new market? And what can we do as a family to develop in such new environment?
Okay. So I think when you are planning to move from a smaller city to a bigger city, you have to identify the market. Don't go because my friends from college are there, so I want to go there. If you're making a move for business, then you have to identify, judge the markets, what's the need, what's your product, what's your expertise, where should you go? Okay? Then you take that step first. Then do an initial dipstick, do a study. Somebody from the family, not everybody shifts, go buy the property, we are shifting here, and then say, now what? So somebody should go check, do a dipstick, evaluate the market, is it right for you? You may come to the conclusion, nahi, yahan nahi jana bhai, aur kahin jayenge. So that homework, that visit, that investment of time and effort is very important. So do the market study, then take the decision to move.
Sir, thanks for valuable guidance. I want to extend question first regarding blood equity and sweat equity. Suppose we have sister, brother, and son-in-law, and son and daughter is working together. How we can decide that? Please guide. Thank you.
Okay. So firstly, you've raised the topic of blood equity and sweat equity. Now, I studied this subject, I put it into practice in my own family, and we decided that my wife and my 3 children, 2 boys and a girl, will have a blood equity in the business 30 years ago. That blood equity, let's say, for discussion's sake, is 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. I was a single one working. So 80% was with me. Now, as they grew older, somebody started working, somebody was not working. That's when sweat equity came in. And we decided that there's a certain amount for sweat equity. And as one of them started working, then the second started working. The third did not work at any point in time. So the third remained as only blood equity. My wife did not work. She was involved with other social work. So she remained at her blood equity. The 2 boys who came in, one worked for a greater number of years, one worked for a lesser number of years, and then moved to the US. So his formula for the sweat equity was less. Sweat equity is based on profit. Now the question is, how do you distribute that? That is your own formula that you create. Okay? As the company grows, this is what it will be. Now my share then diluted because they started getting from their sweat part of it, which was mine 80% as sweat. So mine started coming down, theirs started going up. Most people think that if your equity is going down, यानी कि तुमको कुछ दे दिया, But the fact of the matter is, when more people work and the pie gets bigger, my 40% today may be much more than my 80% of yesterday. So you have to look at all these things. So it's not necessarily a loss that मैंने दे दिया. They are working, they are sweating, they are getting you results, which you could not do alone by yourself. So these are the things you have to see in that. But I think I missed something about son-in-law or daughter, some in-law की कोई बात की आपने. What is that question? See, you have to decide your own policy about males and females in the family. Some people take the approach, female to paraya dhan hai, she is going, nothing, only the boys. Some take that approach. We have taken the approach, all three are equal, but sweat will get rewarded. So it depends what you take. Now, if the daughter-in-law, if there's only one son and a daughter-in-law and they're in the business, no, you're shaking your head. ठीक काम है ना? Only two are there. Many more are there. How many sons, how many daughters?
One daughter and one son.
One son, one daughter, and a son-in-law.
Yes.
Right? Now you have to decide your policy, I feel. Should a daughter-in-law or a son-in-law have equity, yes or no? There is enough discussions, pluses and minuses. You have to take the call. Many considerations are there. I would not like to go into them and say this is better or that is better, or my case I did this and that's it's right. I wouldn't like to do that. But that's an important call you have to take. Competency, compatibility, stability of the marriage, all these things you have to consider. His parents, there's so many dynamics. You have to consider all that. And its competence, yes.
Thank you so much, firstly. So I have two short questions. First is, we spoke about what we stand for as a company, our values, our vision. It is probably easier for us to tell our family what we stand for. But when we have an organization that's growing, and we are growing in people in all aspects, how do we transfer our values and what we stand for throughout our team?
A simple answer to that, I think, is you have to get a buy-in from your team. You have to, suppose you have decided at the family level that these are our values. Now you want to buy in from your, let's say, leadership team of the company. You have 5, 6 people in that team. You have two ways of doing it. You tell them, boss, this is a family business. These are our family values. They cannot be compromised. करना है काम करो, नहीं तो दरवाजा खुला है. So that is one approach. The other approach is get a buy-in from them. That say, look, we are doing this. Do you see anything wrong with this? This is what we have, after a lot of thought, a lot of thinking, our generation to generation or future generations will follow these values. Can you add to it? Can you suggest something? Sell it that way. So both ways you can approach it, whatever suits you.
Thank you. So my second question, sir, was, yeah. So for example, if our next generation doesn't want to join the business, let's say he is interested or she is interested in something else, and the family wants to continue the business, can we as real estate developers go into professionalizing the business in a way where the family is not involved and yet the business succeeds?
Yes. This is a very valid question. What happens if you've developed a business, it's doing well, but next gen wants to do something else? Their heart is not in this business. You don't have anybody else. You have a choice now. मैं बेच दूँ business, बंद करूँ, क्या करूँ? So, if you choose the route of professionalizing and leaving it, see, professionalizing does not mean abdicating. Remember that always. मैंने professionalize कर दिया, मैं कश्मीर जा रहा हूँ. No, मर जाओगे. You leave the execution the day-to-day management, the day-to-day decisions, the operations to these people who you employ, who are competent, experienced, well paid, okay? But you don't abdicate. You have your reporting systems, you have your auditing systems, you have your training systems, you have everything in place so that it doesn't go off track. You're monitoring. You're not involved in 9 to 5 or 9 to 9. Okay? So that's the way to take the professionalization forward. And the next thing is that whoever is there in the family, if that family member is involved in some other business or some other interest and has a share here in the equity, therefore getting a profit or a dividend, you have to tell them that you have to be engaged at the board level. So you have a board that the professional team is accountable to. The board may meet once in 3 months, review everything. They are not there all the time. The key man is monitoring other things. But you can't say that I'm a member of this family, I'm getting a dividends, I've got nothing to do with it. Then you're a trust fund beneficiary, look at it that way. But not at this level that we are talking about. Last point I want to say on this is, okay, my own case. My daughter is not interested in the real estate business. She lives in France. She's making movies. Okay? Now, we took a decision that we are a family real estate business. She's not interested in real estate. So we changed to say we are a family entrepreneurial business. So we are interested in our future generations being entrepreneurs. Whatever field they choose, we would like to back them in their efforts of entrepreneurship. So they are free to look at other areas. You could take that approach.
Thank you, sir.
Confused?
No. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon. Sir, I actually wanted to ask, how do we... Hello?
Yeah. Yes, you are
How do we deal with difference in opinion of different levels of the staff? Like with every new team member or a new generation, there comes a new team of staff and cannot match with the older staff that was there.
It's really an HR issue. I mean, you have to assess who's sounding right, who is wrong. They have difference of opinions. And you make a choice. You make a choice to start with on the decision. You make a choice when the decision is there, if it comes to a head, where one has to stay and one has to go. You'd make a decision at that point. Who's better for the company? You try to reconcile, you try to have an approach of give and take and adjustment, but ultimately you have to take decisions, no?
Extremely sorry to interrupt, but the time is up and we have to move ahead. Thank you for all the wonderful questions and thank you, sir, for addressing them so well. एक बार फिर से जोरदार तालियां सर के लिए. I will request Mr. Nandakishore Patil to kindly felicitate Mr. Kumar Gera.